Okay, let's get started. So, today we have a bunch of files to download. If you have time right now, please go to Moodle and then download these files all together. And also go to this link, download this shapefile. When you click on the link, it will lead you to this page. And then on this page, please go to the one that has 359 megabyte. This one that ends up with shp.zip. Okay, it's quite big, but we need this at the end of the class. So you can just download this one. No need to unzip. Just download and then let it be a zip file like that. No need to unzip it. Okay. So these are the files that we need today. Then we will talk about the slides first. Okay, so we continue with the Tableau. So with our BI, right? We will use BI to visual analyze some things to get some insights. And so these are the contents that we will talk about today. Mainly it's about features in Tableau. So there's not much of any theories for today and probably the next few days. First thing, okay, please open up the starter file of Lab 8. So the name of the file is Lab 8 Starter, and it will bring you to this file like this, okay? Lab X Starter. So in Lab X Starter, I've already imported the data, which are the data that we used last time. And we also have the hierarchy. I also add one more hierarchy here, the customer hierarchy. And if you go back to data source, it may ask you for the source file. It will probably pop up and ask you for the source file. Just choose the super source file in Lab 7 that we used last time. It's the same thing. Okay. Although it's a TWBX file, you may wonder why it still asks you for the file because in in TWBX file, it is compressed, right? It is the compressed file, and the data file is actually have some manipulation and is compressed in a database of the type that Tableau know. So if you go to this data source and you can preview something like this, right? That means you want to view the raw data. So when you want to view the raw data, it will ask you the source file. That's why, right? With the Tableau zip file and hyper file, the data file, it may not be able to view the raw data easily. So that's why it will ask you if you go to this. But if you don't go to the data source, you can just work without problems. It will still allow you to create the graph, create the tables, whatever you want. Okay, so once you get this, okay, just type 1 for me. Okay, first thing, we will talk about one good thing about Tableau. Remember when you use Excel, right? Every time you create a new graph, you need to set everything again, like colors, like the format of the numbers, right? But in Tableau, they have these fields, default properties that you can set for each field in your data pane so that it will remain like that for every graph that you create later on, or even before that. Okay, so in default properties, what you can set is like you can add some comments about that field. You can do a number formatting. Let's say it's a percentage. So every time it shows up in your graph, it will have percentage labels or the color. Like if you have colors for particular field, for example, in this case, we will set for our profit and sales, for example, or shape, or the total, or the remember when you use pivot tables in Excel, it always sum for you, right? In Tableau, you can set whether it will start with sum. You can set it with average, for example. Okay, so let's do sum for this. Let's say we want to set, for example, let's say sales, right? So go to sales, and then you click the drop down, and then they will have this default property. You can see what do you want to set, right? Comment, color, number, like this, right? So for example, you want to set the color. You click on the color, and then you can choose the color, right? For example, if I want sales to be always blue, right? I would just choose blue. And since I know that sales always doesn't have negative, so I don't need any diverge colors like red, right? So blue should be satisfied for me, okay? Probably if, uh, let's say profit, okay? Let's say I want to, how about set the profit, since the profit can be negative and then positive. So I want to make it like a diverging that goes from gold to purple. Okay, I want to set that. So let's say, where's my Tableau? Okay, profit, default properties, color, right? And then I will choose gold to purple diverging. And I want to set the center to be custom to 0. Okay, so that if it's 0 profit, it will be in the middle, which means it will be like quite gray or white, right? Not gold or not pink, or not gold or not purple, right? I also can set how many step colors I want, okay? Or if it's a reverse, means not gold to purple, but purple to gold, I can do that. But in this case, I don't. Use full color range mean that even though the negative thing or positive thing is not that much, you want to be the most the goldish one or the purplish one or not. Okay, you can set use full color range. So it will really go, even though it's not that negative. Okay, so this is what I would set. You may set it differently. It depends on your aesthetic sense. Okay. Okay. Another thing that I will set, and it is this important, is discount. Because in discount, it comes as a decimal, right? 0.1, 0.2. But when you view the discount in the visualization, you don't want it to be point something like this. You want to be like 10%, 20%, right? So I would need to change the default property. If I don't, I need to change it every time I have the graph. So I would change the number format to be percentage without decimal number. Why? Because it's 10%. There's no 10.25%, something like this. We don't have that detail discount number, so we don't need the decimal things. And also, since the discount is a ratio, it's already 10% mean 10 by 100, right? So the aggregation involved in discount should not be sum. Otherwise, it would be wrong, right? So it should be average. So I will set the aggregation default to be average. Okay. So go to discount, default properties, number format, and then change to percentage. Decimal place 0. Okay, no decimal place needed. It's just percent. Okay, and okay. Another thing, default properties, aggregation, not sum, right? Not sum. It will be average. So every time we don't need to worry anymore that it will sum the discount. It just save us another click, something like this. Okay. Right? So nothing is taking effect because we don't have any graph yet. Okay. Now let's move on. Everyone okay? Okay, right? So let's move on. One, we set the default properties. If you don't remember to set at the first time, you can come back and set it, and it will still apply for your graph that already done. So now we will create a text tables, or we can call it, actually it's a pivot tables just like in Excel, or we can call it a cost tab, right? That means in Turbo, if you want something like this, like pivot table, you just make it as a table. The shelves we already have, right? Rows shelf, columns shelf. So you just drag your field that you want to be the row to the row shelf, to be for the column to be column, just like in pivot table. Okay, and the measures or the values that you created when you use pivot table will be on text. Okay, so let's say we want this one is like a profit by segment and category. So columns are segment and rows are category and subcategory. Okay, so where is segment? Segment is in customer. Segment is in customer. So we move segment to column, and we move category in product category to rows like this. This is what we have. And we need subcategory, right? Since you already have hierarchy, we have two ways to do. You can drag subcategory directly, or you can use the drill down features that we already created with the hierarchy. So category can be drilled down to subcategory, right? And we need profit, right? So we just move profit to text, or we can just drop in the ABC like this, right? On the cells of the table. So we get our table. So just get it wider. You can adjust. Oh, too much. Like this, okay. And this one can be adjusted like this. Okay, looks good. Now, what you can see is a pivot table, just like in pivot table. However, compare with Excel pivot table, there's no grand total and also subtotal. Can we do that here? Of course, we can do. So where? Where to do total, subtotal in the visualization? Actually, there are two ways to do that. The first way is through the menu analysis. Okay, let's see the first way. So menu analysis. Okay, menu analysis. And in segment from customer hierarchy here, because segment is in customer table. It's not. It's a table that we make relationship with the orders table last time. Okay, good. Punyapat. Okay. Now we want to add grand total, subtotal, something like that, just like in pivot table, right? We can do two ways. Okay, the first way is go to menu analysis and then choose totals here. You can see, oh, here's the options, right? You can choose to have row grand total, column grand total, add all subtotals, right? You can try, okay? I let you try. Maybe I add row grand subtotal, you get this, right? You add column grand total, you get this one, or you can add all subtotals, you get all subtotals of each category, right? You can move, right? In the menu, you can move, like row total, I don't want it to be on the right-hand side, it can be on the left-hand side using this menu, right? It move to the left-hand side. And I can move back, just choose or undo it, right? Like something like this, right? This is the first way, right? The second way, I undo them. Okay. The second way, there is another pane beside the data pane. This is called analytics pane. And we will use analytics pane a lot next time after your midterm week. Okay, so analytics pane here. There are total over here. Okay. You can drag this feature. Let's try. Okay, and it will show you a pop-up that say you want to add which type of total, you want to add subtotal. Okay, you can just drag and drop to subtotals like this. You want more, you add column grand totals like this. You want more, you add row grand totals like this. Okay, so two ways you can do it. So once you get something like this, just type 2 for me. Let's make a title for this. Okay, so it's the profit by segment category. No? Okay. Now, there may be questions for you to want to know. Oh, what if I want some data behind the graphs or each graph so that I can export them and then to do something in Excel or some other programs, right? How do I do that? Can I copy this? I want this data. This pivot table is very nice, right? This data. I want it. How can I get to have this data? So of course, Tableau provide you the view data or view underlying data. You can go to the menu analysis and then there is a view data here. Right? So let's see. Menu analysis and then view data. This view data is the data that Tableau used to create the view in the graph. Okay, so let's see. Oop. It pop up something like an Excel spreadsheet, right? Furniture table, home office, minus 3,000 is this, which one? Home office, this one, this sale, right? Furniture, furnishing, home office, 1,900, this one, right? So it could be different, right? If this is a bar chart, for example, right? It is not that easy to get to see the number But with the view data, you get to see the raw number before it is used to create that graph. And this raw number can be downloaded. For example, I want this to do something in Excel. For example, I can just download and it will give me a CSV file. Okay, so let's say I put it in document, save, and then I go to document. Where's my document? Okay, here. And when I view it, it will be open with Notepad, for example. Yeah, this is what I get, my CSV file. Okay. Okay, and that's the one things that you may come up as your requirement. Okay, now not just data, you can even export the graph. And in this case, you can export the crosstab into Excel. Okay, let's see the options. You go to worksheets, and then you click export. You can export as image. In the image, there is a lot of, like, you can choose whether in the image to insert the title. The graph is the view. The view is the graph. The caption, if you have one. And the place, if you have legend, you can choose where the legend will show or display in your image, right? And then it will save as PNG, for example. Let's save and then take a look. Okay, nice, right? This is a graph, right? This is the view that shows you. Okay, this is PNG file. Okay. And also you can export, in this case, this data export will export in Microsoft Access database. Okay, so you need to have access to be able to open it. And you can export it as a crosstab. Okay, this one is very nice also. Just click and we'll just open Excel if you have one. Okay, here, right? It looks like I copy the tables from Tableau into Excel, right? This is like Excel, normal Excel. Okay, very nice, right? And if you don't save, just don't save. Okay. Now let's move on. Okay, I need this graph. So I will let you do this scatter plot. You already know the scatter plot helps you to visualize the relationships. In this case, I need the relationships between sales and profit, but each point in the scatter plot is one product. So I need the product name, right, to be each one point. And I also need two more pre-attentive attributes, which is shape and color. So I want color and shape to belong to category. For example, if it's furniture, it will be circle and blue. If it's technology, it will be, I think technology is square and orange. Okay, and another one is what's that? Office supply, right? It's this red one. Okay. Right now it's 202. So let's say 205 then. Okay, please give me this graph with the title sales versus profit across products. So let's make a new sheet and then sales versus profit across products. This is what I want. Okay. So it gives you about 3 or 4 minutes to do this. Anyone who finished the graph, please type 3. No one? Hmm. Okay, let's see how I do that. Okay, so this is the solution. I will have sales in columns, profit in rows, and then for these marks card, I need category as color, category as shape, shape was it's here, and then product name in label, and then product name in the detail. Why? Let's see. Okay, so first, let's do sales and profit. So sales to columns, profit to rows. You can see that once we put sales and profit in columns and row, you will get 1 point. What is this point? This point is all the sales, some sales and some profit. This is all the sales in my transactions table. So all the sales is 2 million something. All the profit is 292,000 thousands. I want to separate these points into many points, and many points is each point is one product, right? So what I can do with this marks card, you can see there is a detail card here. This detail card will help you to separate from this one point into many points. Okay, so I need details on product name. So I put product name into detail. Boom, see? It becomes a lot of points, right? I will just extend it to entire view so that it will just use my space efficiently. And then what do I need more? I need the label. Right, so I put product name again in label. It will not show all the labels because if it shows all the labels, it will overlap each other and everything will not be readable. So it only show ones that it's not overlap, and that's the one that we need. Okay, these are very outlier points, and we need to know that. We want to know that. Okay. Then I want color to be depends on category. So I put category to color, right? And again, I put category to shape. Okay, so it uses both preattentive attributes to differentiate between different categories. Actually, it's quite redundant, but it's okay right now. Okay, so once you get this, please give me a 3. All right, thank you จักรพงศ์ Okay สมปราชญ์วิทยาธิดาพลวิทย์พลวัฒน์ใช่ไหมทาปนีโอเคอ่ะ I want more. If I want to present this graph to maybe my manager, I want him to focus on some particular product. Let's say, oh, this product, Canon image class 2200. Wow, it gives you very high profit. Right? I want to put this information, profit and sales, in a box and then point to this Canon point, data point. I can do that with the things called annotation. You can do annotation in Excel, just create a text box, right? And then create an arrow from that text box to the point that you want to point. It's not quite native, right? But in Tableau, it's quite native. So if you want to add annotation in Tableau, there are three types of annotations: mark type, point type, and array type. What are the difference? Mark annotation means that it add the annotation on the selected marks, mean that that mark needs to have data point. This is called mark annotation. Let's see. Our example, this is a mark annotation because at this point, I have the data, right? This is the profit and sales of Canon image class. So this has the real data. I can right click and then annotate and then choose mark. Choose mark. Boom. And then I can format this annotation. For example, I can add some description, something, right? But if I want to just add this thing, I can probably maybe remove product name because I already have product name in the label. I want just category profit and sale, for example. Okay. What I get is this points, this dialog like this. I can move something like this. I can maybe put it in not alignment to be center. Something looks like this. Okay, this is mark annotation. Mark annotation means you have that data in that point, and this annotation will point to that point that you have the data. Okay, another type is called point annotation. Point annotation means you want to point to a point งงไหมก็คืออยากจะชี้ไปที่จุดหนึ่งซึ่งจุดนั้นเนี่ยอาจจะไม่มี Data อยู่เช่นสมมติที่ว่างๆตรงเนี้ยเนาะไม่มี Data อยู่เลย no data here but I want to point to somewhere here to maybe show something that if I give this high sales but very low profit how much is that for example I click here right annotate you can see that the mark is disabled because there's no data point there. There's only point, right? So if I click point, it will show me something like this, even though it doesn't have the real data point, but it try to calculate that point for you, whether if it has the data point there, this should be the sum profits, this should be the sum sales. Okay, something like this. Right? This is a point annotation. The area, very literally, the area annotation is to mark a specific area, like a cluster of data points or a cluster of outliers, right? Let's say I want this, right? And then right click, annotate area, right? And then I say, these are profitable products, thing like this. And then click OK, right? And you can do something like this. Right? And then you just format this to be shading. What can I format? Shading none. Okay. See, like this. And then border, let's say I want border. Okay. I want to move it. A little bit difficult. I want to move this. What? I can do that, right? I think I can do that. Whatever. Okay, right now. Okay. Something like this. Or I put. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Looks like something like this, right? I can like point to the area, the whole area, and then I can say whatever I want to say. And this is the area annotation. Okay. So area annotation is wherever you want that to be, you just choose and then you add annotation, just like that. Okay, so it depends. The most important thing is where do you want to use it. Okay, don't overuse it. Don't overuse it. Just use at the place where you want to tell your story. Okay, don't use too much. Okay. All right. Now, next is another specific features in Tableau. This is called sets. What is sets? Sets are actually custom fields. That means you want to define a subset of the data based on some conditions. Okay? Set, you already learned set in discrete mathematics, right? Set ก็คือมันก็คือ subset ของอะไรสักอย่างในที่นี้คือ subset ของข้อมูลของคุณ แต่ว่าเราจะ define set ได้มันก็ต้องมีเงื่อนไขเนาะว่าเฮ้ยอันนี้เป็น set ของอะไรอ่ะ you can make sets to be dynamic or interactive using the sets condition and also later on when we create the dashboard using the set actions. So in Tableau there are two types of sets called dynamic sets and fixed sets. So we will create both and see the difference between these two. First, we will create the dynamic sets. Okay, dynamic sets, just the name says, right? The members of the dynamic set are dynamic. It will change according to the underlying data and condition. And dynamic sets can only be based on a single dimension. For example, in this case, we want a set of products. So our products is our dimension, right? I want a set of products to be products with sales from 10,000 up and above. Okay, so if I want to create the dynamic sets on product, that means product name, I go to, okay, let's close this. I go to product name. I go to product name. And then I click the drop down and then I create set. Create set. Okay, create set. And then I want to create set from condition, right? In this case, I want condition to be by field. Okay, so I click by field. And my condition is according to sales. So I choose sales. Sales. So this product has to have sales, some sales above, right? Right? Not above, equals or larger than. So มากกว่าเท่ากับ How much? 10,000, right? 10,000. And then I click OK. Before I click OK, I change the name. I want the set name to be products with sales greater or equal 10,000. Okay, this is my set. You choose the name, whatever you want it to be, to make sense. Okay, and then click OK. See, I would have a new field. Looks like a new field. Look like a new field. And the icon beside new field has the Venn diagram, right? So it's about set, and the most famous icon that related to set is Venn diagram. So we have Venn diagram as icon to particular set. Oh, this is not just normal field. This is set. All right, again, what I did is I click drop down and then I create set, and this set, okay, go edit set, right? So show you. I choose the name of the set, and then I choose condition by the field cell sum greater than or equals 10,000, and then OK. Right. Then you may have some question. Last time we do something about group. That group looks like we also create a new custom field also. So what's the difference between group and sets, right? So let's go back to data source. In group, when you create a group, right, you will most likely see that you have a new field over here in the data source. But in set, you don't see that because this set is like a virtual custom field. It will only create internally by Tableau, but it will not show you that, oh, I now have a new field over here. So this is one thing that group and sets are different. Okay. Now, this is the example of dynamic set. Now we'll create another set, and this will be a fixed set. And this set will combine all the products that has negative profit right now. Okay, so let's create, let's say I want create another sets here. Or actually, if I no, not create that. Let's go back. I want to create negative profit set from this scatter plot. Okay, so you can see that these products are those that has negative profit, right? So my question is, if I want to group them and create a set based on what I see here, right? I can do that by using my mouse. Let's say I want to choose to incorporate all the negative here, and then not go over 0 point, okay? Let's say like this, okay, about here. These are the products that I know from this scatter plot that it has negative profits. And I want to include these things into a new set. So once I choose this using my mouse, I can go to maybe right click and then create set. Okay, so right click, or if it has the hover, let's say if in your selection like this, it show you a hover like this, right? You can just choose this Venn diagram icon, and then you can create set. Okay, so choose this or right click, it's okay or fine. Right click and then create set. Okay, and I want to name my set products with negative profit. You can see that using this way, it will list all the member for you. 1,243 total numbers of products that were included in this set. This is called fixed set because every time you do something with this set, the members are always fixed. But the product name with sales greater than 10,000 are not fixed. If once you have more orders and then some products add more sales, it may be included or excluded from that set. So you see the difference between dynamic set and fixed sets, right? So fixed sets always fixed like this, no change at all, except you want to, right, recreate or maybe to add more things, right? So just click OK. Click OK. So I have two sets right now. Now with these two sets, let's create some particular views. So create more sheet. Let's see sets. And let's see when these two sets behave, how it behaves in graph. Right, so let me put negative profit in columns, product with sales in rows. You can see, right? And it comes as in and out. Why? Because with sets, you only have in set or out of set. Remember, with sets, the idea of the set is that you have that member is in a set or that member is out of the set, right? So that's why when we show that in graphs, it display as in out. Okay, so I want to see the number. So let's see, I want to put the orders count. I want to count the number of orders in each product. I put the orders count inside this. Okay, and let's do entire view. Okay, so I want to maybe put some colors here. So I can use this button to help me, show me. And I choose this one. I will talk about this button later on. Show me. Just click the highlight table, the one on the right top. Okay, so let's entire view another time. Okay, I will get a quite like a heat map, or maybe you can see it's a pivot table with conditional formatting, right? Okay, so you can see that this particular cell is what? In negative profit and in product sales with greater than 10,000. So with greater than sales with more than 10,000 has a lot of negative profit เนาะin ในที่นี้out this is out okay sorry this is out for sales greater than 10,000 นะคะ this is sales greater than 10,000 but negative profit sale not greater than sale not greater than 10,000 but negative profit. This is sale with more than 10,000 and with negative profit. It's quite small, just 56 orders. Okay, so anyone get this? Just give me a 4.อืมเก่งเนาะจักรพงศ์ได้เซตหรือยังได้เซต2 อันหรือยัง two sets นั่นแหละเนาะโอเค then you just put set in columns and row and then put profit no count order I want to count the number of orders count in the sales or put it in text is okay so count orders ก็คือนับจำนวนนั่นเองนับจำนวน transaction คือนับโรอันนี้เหมือนนับโรนะคะ count orders and then I want to color right I want to color actually I can do this manually but I want to use this show me because it's easier show me and then I choose the one here double click เนาะแล้วก็ entire view anyone with me 4 So you can see the behavior of set. You can only have in set and out set. But with the group, you can create many group, right? Group, this is a lot of group at the same time. With the sets, you can only have for each particular set type, you have in set, out of sets. So to be more useful, right? They allow you to combine the sets. Just like when you're working with set, right? You can like union set, intersect set, right? Do something like this, right? You can do like that in Tableau also. So combine set allow you to combine the set that you create to just come up with the combination of all the member or just the member or the member that exists in one set but not another. Okay, so I will combine these two set with negative profit and with sales greater or equal 10,000. So what I do is that I will just click on one of the sets, right click, and then I will choose the create combine set. Okay. So right click or click the drop down is okay. Oops, what did I do? Drop down and create combine set. Create combine set. And then I can name this set products with negative profit and sales greater or equal 10,000. Then what type of combine I want? I want this negative profit combined with this sales greater or equal. Which type of combination? This is union. You can see the Venn diagram, right? This is union. I want intersect, so I choose this one. Share members in both set. This is intersect, right? So it needs to be the intersection at the center between the two sets. And you can have A minus B, B minus A, whatever. I want the intersect one. So that means I want negative profit แล้วก็ต้องเซลล์มากกว่า10,000ก็คือต้องการ product ที่ขายได้เยอะนะแต่ขายแล้วเหมือนไม่ได้อะไรเพราะว่า negative profit นี่แหละเนี่ยเราก็จะได้ list ของ member พวกนี้ออกมานะคะกดโอเค okay so we have another set over I think it's here okay so let's show that okay I choose new worksheet and then this new worksheet I say I want negative profit products with high sales. Okay. I want to just show, so I don't want any graph. Okay. So I drag to row. Okay. Since it's a set, so it only shows you in and out, right? But if you actually want the members to be shown, they have option for that. Just click and then there's an option show members in set. I need to show members in set. See? These are the how many? 16, right? Whatever. Products with negative profit and sales greater or equal 10,000. Okay, this is product. Okay, this is a different things. This is the number of orders. Okay ก็คือไม่ต้องงงว่าทำไมตัวเลขไม่เหมือนกัน อันนี้คือจำนวนออเดอร์เพราะว่าเราเลือก orders count เนาะแต่อันเนี้ยเป็น product ที่เป็น member in the set so it should be the different number okay so only I think it's about 10 product right see yeah just 10 product that in some sales very high 10,000 up but some profit is negative okay only furniture right? 4 furniture, 3 office supply, and 3 technology. Okay, so this is to show you this feature, right? So what's the difference between group and set? And it's actually have another one that's called bin. But we will talk about bin when we talk about creating histogram later on next lecture. Okay, so bin is used when we want to create the histogram, and you remember in histogram, right? One bar in histogram means one bin. Okay, that's the bin that we talk about. So the difference between these three things, okay, group can be created on both dimension and measure, but uh set can be created on dimension only because it needs members. It will not be created on measure. Bin, on the other hand, created on measure because usually when we talk about bin, right, we talk about numbers, numeric numbers. So usually it will be measure, not dimensions. When group is created, table we create new fields on dimension, but when set is created, we will get to generate separate section internally. Right? Just what I show you that with the set, you don't have the new field in the data source at all. When bin create again, we'll create the bin for that dimension. Okay, again, we don't uh, uh, field for that bin will be shown in data pane. For group, we will not be able to create calculation, but for set, we can. For bin, we cannot also. Bin is quite specific, right? Group, we can create set on group, but we can create group or bin on set. We can create set on bin, but not create group on bin. So things are quite messy here. In a group, it is possible to see all the values because we can show that in the data source, right? But instead, we cannot. We can only look at in the form of in and out. But right now, with all the new, this is quite this table is summarized maybe, I think before this version. Okay, for new version, we can take a look at what's inside the in set. Okay, in bin we can see the limit because it's number, it's not members. Group support parameter, we will talk about parameter next lecture again. Set also support parameter, bin also support parameter. We can combine groups, but we can combine sets. We also can combine bins, but we can combine two bins using the option in combine fields. If we combine two groups, the result will not be a group, right? We can combine two groups using combine field, using the field, maybe creating a calculated field. Later on, we will do that. But with the set, since it's set, we can combine the set just like what we did a few minutes ago. Okay, and that's the difference between these three things for you to know. Okay, now talk about calculated fields. Okay, these calculated fields are pretty much similar and not similar to calculated fields in pivot table because this calculated field is more general than calculated field in pivot table because calculated fields in pivot table are used just for pivot table and for aggregate level measure. Remember, when you have aggregate level of calculation you want to create based on the group in the pivot table. That's why you create calculated field on the pivot table. But here, calculated field means anything that can be using formula. This calculated field can be text using formula to create the combination of text or to convert the text, something like this. And this calculated field can be used just like in pivot table to perform the mathematical on measures at both row level and aggregate level. Okay, so there are actually many options in calculated field. We will, as we go on later in our lecture, we will see more and more examples of using calculated field. But if you are interested you can go to the site I provided for you. Okay, so there are many places you can create the calculated fields. 3 places actually. So you can go to the menu analysis, and then there is an option create calculated field there. You can go to the data pane, and in the section above the fields of the data pane, there is a small drop down here that gives you create calculated field. I like this place the most. Another place is if you know that that calculated field is based on which field, you can just right click or drop down click on that field and then choose create calculated field. So 3 ways to do that. Okay. So be the idea behind calculated field that we'll talk about is that you need to know the difference between row level calculated field and aggregate level calculated field. Because here it's different from pivot table, because in pivot table everything is aggregate level. So even though you don't put the function sum inside your calculation in pivot table, it will sum for you, right? But here, if you want sum, you need to put sum. If you don't put sum, it will become row level measure. For example, if you do profit by sales without sum like this, it is low level profit margin หมายความว่าอะไรหมายความว่ามันก็เหมือนกับคุณ create คอลัมน์ใหม่ข้างๆในแต่ละ row แล้วคุณก็ profit ส่วน sale profit ส่วน sale ซึ่งก็คือเวอร์ชันที่ถ้าเอามาใช้จริงก็ไม่ค่อยถูกไหมสำหรับ profit margin เนี่ยเรา need aggregate level so if you need aggregate level you need to put obviously the sum function inside your calculated field, otherwise it will be wrong if you don't put a sum. Not the same as in pivot table คือใน pivot table คุณไม่ใส่ sum ก็ได้เดี๋ยวมันใส่ให้แต่ถ้าใน Tableau คุณไม่ใส่ sum มันก็จะไม่ sum ให้มันก็จะกลายเป็นแบบ low level คือทำทีละ row ทีละ row ทีละ row แล้วค่อยเอามา sum กันซึ่งมันก็ผิดแต่บางงานไงบาง calculated field มันไม่จำเป็นต้อง sum ก็คือเป็น calculated field ในระดับ low level ไม่ต้อง sum คุณก็ไม่ต้องใส่ sum นะเพราะฉะนั้นจะใช้ sum ก็ต้องใส่ sum ไม่ใช้ก็ไม่ต้องใส่ มันก็จะได้อะไรที่มันต่างกันเดี๋ยวเราจะเห็นพฤติกรรม behavior ที่ต่างกันระหว่าง aggregate level กับ row level ด้วยเพราะฉะนั้น in the meaning of the profit margin per se ก็คือเนื้อลึกๆของ profit margin เนี่ยมันจะต้องเป็น aggregate level เท่านั้นมันจะต้องเป็นแบบขวาใช่ไหมแบบซ้ายผิดถูกไหมแบบขวาคือต้องซัมก่อนแล้วค่อยเอามาหารนะคะโอเค let's recreate a new profit margin over here so let's go to I love clicking here or you can use this right where analysis right create calculated field this is also okay or I can do here right click this and then create calculated field right anywhere depends on whatever you feel comfortable right create calculated field let's name my field profit margin profit margin is sum profit okay sum profit divide by sum sale if the intelligence tell you can just tap okay you don't need to actually type everything yourself right you get the profit margin and then you just click OK let's take a look at profit margin you can see that profit margin is number so it is not dimension it's a measure right green one right and you can see the icon in front of profit margin has small s I don't know whether you see it right it's very small it is small s do I have an icon here yeah here small s here, which tells you that, oh, this field is calculated field, right? So it's a numeric, right? Some calculated field could be text, no? And then this S icon says this is calculated field. Okay, and now I want to set default property so that later on when you have to use profit margin, it will be this property. So profit margin is also percentage, right? So I will set percentage and then I will use red, green, white diverging. Okay, so profit margin, default property, number format to be percentage. And this percentage can have decimal number. Right? And click OK. And then again, I want to set the properties of color. Let's say it says red, green diverging, right? Red, green diverging and center, custom, I need 0, right? 0 margin. And I want it to be the red if it goes negative, right? So, and if not need to be big negative, but if it is a lot of negative according to the range, I need very red, so I put this useful color range ก็คือ useful color range คือมันจะใช้ตั้งแต่แดงสุดนะไปถึงเขียวสุดเนาะไม่ว่าตัวเลขมันจะแดงมากหรือเปล่านะคะกดโอเคเนาะไม่ใช่กดโอเคกดปิดไปเลยมันแอปพลายอัตโนมัติอยู่แล้วค่ะหลักตรงเนี้ยเซนเตอร์สำคัญไม่งั้นเซนเตอร์มันจะกลายเป็น0.1อะไรสักอย่างนึงโอเคค่ะอ่ะ now I want to use show me ละนะคะ I want to use show me to help me create a view based on the fields that I already have or any fields I select in the data pane. Okay, you can open show me by clicking the show me on the toolbar. For example, in this case, I want to create a heat map or another name is called highlighted table หรือก็คือ conditional formatting table นั่นเองนะคะ the one on the top right here right and if you click show me let's say I have new sheet แล้วกัน this sheet will be I want profit margin let's name profit margin of subcategory and region เนาะthat means I want to take a look at the different region with different subcategory and how many profit margin are that. Okay, and I want to use show me. I want to use this. You can see that sometimes it doesn't, if it's not คือถ้ามันไม่คือเวอร์ชันใหม่มันไม่ค่อยเห็นเนาะเวอร์ชันเก่าจะเห็นชัดเจนคือถ้ามันเป็นปุ่มที่มันไม่ได้มีตีกรอบให้คือมันแสดงว่ามันยังไม่ enable น่ะนะคะเนี่ยทำไมถึงไม่ enable ไอตัว highlight table เนาะเพราะว่าถ้าคุณคลิก highlight table เนี่ย you will see that for highlight table use measure แล้วก็ dimension ก็คืออันนี้คือ minimum requirement for creating this type of graph so if you want this type of graph you need at least one measure and one dimension because you can see that these are the shelves and the cards that we want to actually create the highlight table สมมุติว่าเราอยากได้พายชาร์ตสมมติfor พายชาร์ตก็มีเมเชอร์อีกแหละเมเชอร์ต้องการใช้เพื่อสร้างพายถูกปะขนาดของพายแล้วก็เชฟของพายแล้วก็ dimension เพื่อให้เป็น color เนี่ยมันจะบอกเหมือนเป็น minimum requirement ให้เรา ถ้ามันไม่ satisfy minimum requirement data ที่โชว์อยู่ในกราฟหรือว่า data ที่เราเลือกใน data pane ไม่โชว์ที่มันsatisfy that minimum requirement you cannot use that Okay, so in this case, I want to use this highlight table. So I need measure. One measure is profit margin. Another is dimension. I need what is the subcategory, right? I control ก็คือกด control พร้อมกันเนาะเพื่อให้เลือกทั้ง profit margin and subcategory at the same time ครูโชว์คีย์บอร์ดไม่ได้คือตอนเนี้ยครูกด control เพื่อให้ตอนเนี้ยมันเลือกเห็นไหมมันไฮไลท์ตรง profit margin กับตรง subcategory นะคะอีกอันหนึงที่เราต้องการ is region เราก็เลือก region ด้วย region อยู่ไหนอะ region อยู่ใน location okay so I control again control click region so you can see that right now in my data pane I choose simultaneously profit margin subcategory and then region right I use the control click and then I go to highlight table and double click that I get this ละเห็นไหม I get the color because I already set the color default property to be red to green. I already get that. But if I want region to be color column ก็ไม่ยากก็คือ switch ใช่ไหมเนี่ย swap rows and column or control W like this. I can what entire view whatever I want. Be like this. Very easy again เนาะ What do? I choose region, I choose subcategory, click control, and I choose profit margin. Then I go to show me. I click highlight table here. I swap row and column and just entire view. This is optional. Okay. I can add, maybe I want to know who are the manager of that region, right? Because I already have this relationship. I can add, regional manager, right? I can add regional manager before region like this. So I know, who are the person responsible for central, who get minus 25% on furnishings, for example. Okay, I put regional manager from here to here in columns. Okay, and you can see it sort by the name, right? You can move just like in pivot table. You can move. You can just click and move, like this, for example. Move back, or you can sort by name. Right. So once you get this, give me a 5. I want a 5. So highlight table, no, or heat map is graphical representation of data using coding of the color to represent different values. So usually we will choose to use heat map when you want to see trend pattern, but with the numbers inside. ก็คือมันดีสำหรับการที่เราเห็นตัวเลขไปด้วยแล้วก็เห็นเทรนด์กับแพทเทิร์นไปด้วยซึ่งมันจะต้องฟิตบน table ก็คือถ้าข้อมูล too much that doesn't fit on table it may not be a good way to represent. Okay, this is what we have. No? Anyone get this? 5. Okay, then one thing that I want you to take a note. Before we say that this profit margin is an aggregate level of measure. How do we know that? Take a look at the marks card here. look at your tableaus. It should says AGG, profit margin. Think about when you drag your measures into the view, what happens? It will show you sum, right? But this will not show you sum because it will not sum. Otherwise, it will sum over sum. So instead of showing sum, it shows AGG to indicate that, oh, this profit margin has already been calculated inside and do not calculate again sum. Do not aggregate any further ก็คือมันซ้ำอยู่ข้างในแล้วในสูตรมันก็เลยทำให้ไอ้สูตรตัว profit margin เนี้ยมันเป็น aggregate level measure คือมันจะถูกกรุ๊ปตาม region ตามอะไรนี้ก่อน แล้วค่อยเอามาหาร ใช่ไหม ดังนั้นมันจะไม่ซ้ำไปอีกรอบ เดี๋ยวมันก็จะกลายเป็นตัวเลขที่ทำอะไรไม่ได้ มันก็เลยสร้างขึ้นเป็นโน้ตตรงนี้ให้ว่ามันคือ aggregate level of measure already so when you move profit margin to wherever in your view column shelf row shelf mark card it will show AGG to tell you that it is not a sum again there should be some aggregation it could be different not sum right average whatever already inside so I will not sum for you again and this will indicate that okay so this is the difference between low level measure and aggregate level measure นะคะ before we have a break I want to add one more thing we can safeguard our code by using if and only if just like in Python for example right if and only if IIF will check whether a condition is met using the test and return then and if the test is true if it's false you return else right okay and there's also an optional value if the test is null so in this case since we have some profit divided by some sale what if sales is zero lah it will be divided by zero right and it will contain error so just like we try and accept in Python this is the same right so we will safeguard by using IIF to check first whether some sales not equal to zero if it's not equal to zero we will do the profit margin if it's equal to zero we will say okay this profit margin should be zero okay just to safeguard right to just catch the error okay so I go back to profit margin I edit okay and then I use IIF if some sales not equal to zero okay I do some profit and some sale if it's equal to zero I make it as zero right? Just to catch the divide by zero error that's actually in this case it's not possible but maybe in some case it's possible ก็คือปกติเซลล์มันก็ไม่ควรจะศูนย์อยู่แล้วถูกไหมถ้ามันมีข้อมูลใน transaction มันก็ไม่ควรจะศูนย์นะแต่ profit เป็นศูนย์ได้ถูกไหมโอเคกดโอเค and nothing's changed because we don't have that errors right okay so next we will create a lot of type of the widths right so there are many visualization that we can easily create it in Tableau so we will do that quickly later on in the second section today so we will first create some stack bar like this right so during the break you may try to come up like this yourself so it's actually color pre-attentive attribute on the dimension segment right we'll come back later on okay so let's have break for 10 minutes right now it's 3 o'clock So 310, okay? Okay, so stack bar chart is used to visualize the composition of part to whole, whether this is 10% of this whole thing, for example, like this. The cons, at the bad things about stack bar chart is that we try to compare two dimensions at the same time. That means we want to compare the biggest bar, that is the highest bar here. To compare this is higher than this, and in the same time, we want to compare small dimension also. Here is higher than here, or whether this is bigger than this, right? So there are several things to compare, which is not a good thing sometimes. So this is the cons. And in some variants, we can show 100% stack bar chart as we want to show later on in the next class. Okay, so first let's visualize this segment proportion each year. Okay. Let me, okay, save as first. Okay, just not to overwrite. Okay, lab 8. And then new sheet, segment proportion each year. Okay. Okay, so I need a year. Okay, from the order date two columns. I get a year. And I need sales. Sales. Okay. And I want bar chart, so I can change to bar. เอาใหม่นะ I put order date two columns. I get a year, right? That's fine. I have sales. I want to compare between sales of each year. But I get line chart because line chart is the most natural things for trend, right? With the date hierarchy. That's why I can change myself to bar chart. And then I want each bar chart to proportionate by each segment. So I put segment to color. I put segment to color. And that's it actually. Okay, I will need to just label it using cells, right? I control click some cells to label. Okay. Now you can see maybe the label are too much. I need just maybe some to 26K, for example. So how do I do that? I can just right click and then format. I right click somewhere, right? And then format. And then I go to fields. I want to format the some cells. So I choose field some cells. And I choose the default here, number. I will choose number custom. And display unit to be 1000. I don't want digit. So I will choose 0 decimal places. So it's easier than Excel. They already have display unit millions, billion, thousands for you. Choose custom. Okay, just choose custom. Okay, and that's it. Everything are shown now because it's not clutter anymore. ก็คือมันพอมันมีที่ให้ใส่เลเบลอ่ะมันก็จะใส่ให้มาตอนแรกมันใส่ได้ไม่หมดนะคะเพราะว่าถ้าใส่หมดมันก็จะทับไปทับมานะอ่ะแล้วก็ปิดตัว format นี้ไปอ่ะโอเค now My question is, right now we can compare between different year sales, right? You can see, okay, 2025 sales compare with 2024 sales. And you can compare small bar chart. However, it will be easier to compare if that small bar chart is at the bottom starting with zero ก็คือการที่เราจะเทียบตัวแท่งเล็กเนี่ยแท่งเล็กนั้นเนี่ยมันจะเทียบง่ายถ้ามันเริ่มที่จุดเดียวกันก็คือซีโร่เพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเราจะเทียบแท่งแดงเนี่ยง่ายมากเลยว่าอะไรมากกว่าอะไรถูกไหมแต่ถ้าเราจะเทียบแท่งส้มกับแท่งน้ำเงินมันจะเริ่มยากละอ่ะแล้วคำถามคือแล้วถ้าเราอยากจะให้คนดูอ่ะเขาโฟกัสไปเทียบแท่งที่เราต้องการเราทำอะไรได้เราสามารถย้ายแท่ง เช่นเราอยากจะให้เขาดูคอน sumer เป็นหลักอยากให้เทียบแท่งคอน sumer เป็นหลักเราย้ายแท่งคอน sumer เนี่ยไปไว้ที่ฐานก็คือ starting with zero ได้วิธีการย้ายง่ายมากก็คือมาที่ legend ตรงนี้ and then you just move drag and move consumer down and that's it ก็คือมันก็จะกลายเป็นว่าสีสีน้ำเงินเนี่ยมันอยู่ที่ฐานแล้วพอมันอยู่ที่ฐานมันจะเริ่มที่ศูนย์เท่ากันมันจะเทียบง่ายมาก ไม่งั้นมันจะเทียบยากยกเว้นคุณดูตัวเลขใช่ไหมซึ่งมันก็จะใช้เวลามากขึ้นอีกนิดนึงนะอ่ะใครได้แบบนี้แล้วกด6โอเค next I want to do some more thing I want to customize the sort right first let's duplicate the last chart let me duplicate this right click and then choose duplicate and then I want to change the name to segment proportion each year by I want to add by category okay I want to add category so I put category I will add category into rows I will add category into rows okay so right now I have each category each year and then sales each segment okay let's say I want horizontal I can just swap row and column like this right so let's make it entire view first so we can see something easily let's swap put category in front of sales and then swap now if you want to sort let's say I want to take a look at how sales are doing by how much sale I get for let's say technology I can go to technology and then I can sort right so from highest year to the lowest year something like this right however what if I want to sort but by something inside let's say I want to sort by home office in technology how can I do that ก็คือความถามก็คือว่าคือถ้าซอสตามความยาวของแท่งใหญ่เนี่ยซอสได้ง่ายมากเลยก็คือกดซอสตรงนี้ถูกไหมแต่ถ้ามันมีคำถามอะไรที่มันยิบย่อยเพิ่มขึ้นมาแล้วบอกว่าเฮ้ยฉันอยากจะซอสตามความยาวของแท่งเล็กล่ะจะทำยังไงเช่นอยากจะซอสตามความยาวของแท่งสีแดงซึ่งก็คืออะไร Home Office in Technology I cannot do that with just this icon so how can I do there's a trick here okay let's see how can I do that first I need to separate this small bar chart into separate graph okay I can do that because this small bar chart is created by segment right so I move segment which is currently in color into maybe row like this. Oh, sorry, maybe to column. This is easier to column. Move segment, move, no, move, not control copy. Move segment from color to columns. So that in the columns, I have different segment. And in each segment, I have different category for each sales. Right? And then my question before this is that I want to sort by home office, which is this small graph here. It's called pane. This is the home office technology, right? Home office technology. I want to sort by this group of bar charts. So I click sort here. Let's say from highest to smallest. Now, once I get this sort, no? I move back segment to color. I move this, drag it back. You need to sort first, otherwise nothing will happen. You need to sort first whatever you want to sort. In this case, I want to sort this. This is just เป็นแค่ส่วนตัวอย่างเนาะ example ว่าเรา want to sort by this นะพอ sort แล้วปุ๊บก็ย้าย segment เนี่ยผิวตัวเนี้ย back to color and that's it. You can see this is sort 75K, 47K, 41K, and this is 22K. I already sorted by whatever I want. But do not click sort here,นะ. If you click sort here, everything will be gone, and you need to do things from the beginning. All right. So this is called the customized sort. It's quite tricky for now. Okay. So if you get something like this, click 7. Type 7. Okay. This is what we did. Okay. Now I want line chart with categorical colors. Okay, so let's say new sheet. Then I put it as sales trend. I want to see the trend of the sales by category. Okay, the same way to do just like in bar chart เนาะก็คือ I want bar no line chart to be sales. Sales. And then order date columns, but not year and not discrete date. Remember, we want trend, so we want continuous date. We choose continuous. This is month continuous เนาะที่เป็น May 2015 month and then I want to separate ก็คือจะแตกเส้นเนี้ยให้เป็น3เส้น Furniture, Office Supply, Technologies. I put category into color. Right? And as you can see, actually in Tableau, it will try to choose the color consistently for you. So every time you have furniture, it will always be blue. And you can see, okay, maybe you can see some peak over the end of the year, 2 peaks over the end of the year, and maybe 1 peak or small 1 and 2 peak at the start of the year. So this is the trend that you can see. Now, right now you look at just three lines, right? It's actually not that bad. But if you drill down from category into subcategories, what happened? So you can like click the plus sign in front of the category, you get, wow, too many subcategories, right? Too much. This is the bad example of using colors and line too much. This should not happen. Okay, so I will get back. Just click the minus sign. Okay. Now I want to take a look at this. I already have, I think, what I have the set, right? I have set of product with negative profit. Remember, we've created the negative profit product set. So I want to take a look at whether if I have the hypothesis that the trend of the product with negative profit and positive profit are different. All right, I want to prove that. So I want to use this line chart to see whether there are different trends between negative and positive products. So I would just use the sets as my filters. Okay, so I will go to my this and then profit with negative product. Which one? This one, right? This one. With negative profit, and then I put it in filters. Okay, and then instead of having category as color, I can put this as color instead. And then what is this? I will just show, not member. I will just show in and out of set. This is also okay. In, out, okay. And then I show the filter. And then I used in, out to be color. Okay. Does it look okay? It looks okay, right? Negative. Okay. Yeah. So this is an example of using set, right, to differentiate between products that has negative profit and product that has positive profit. So we can see that product with in is negative profit, right, has lower sales. Of course, it has a lower number, right, than product with positive profit, right? And what did I, okay, yeah. And the trend, you can see the trend. There are two peaks at the end of the year, just like the product with positive profit, but somehow the peak for the beginning of the year seems to be lower in the negative profit sets of product somehow, right? Somehow. But in 2022, something happened here, which we don't know what happened. You may need to go and take a look at what actually happened over here. It's quite interesting. Okay. So something like this, we can do some hypothesis proven according to the business questions that we have, right? Okay. If we don't want to use this, maybe you go back to let me undo. Okay. Okay. this one, right? We'll just answer the sales trend by category. Okay. All right. Now I want this one. This is called small multiple. So it's a sales trend, but with very small details in several dimensions at the same time. We have region, we have category and subcategory, and then these are months. Okay. And we take a look everything in one big graph with small number of graphs. This is called small multiples. Edward Tufte says that sometimes if you want to compare different dimensions at the same time with patterns, right, you can use something like this, small multiples. That means you want to compare the trend, but you don't want to know exactly how much is the sales, how much in each month, how much is the sales in this month for this region, for this furniture. You don't want to know that. You just want to see the overall trend of the whole thing that you have, whether it's the same or not the same between different regions and different category. This is the usage of small multiples. Okay, so let's create one more, and then I want the name to be sales trend in small multiples. Okay, I will give you to do this. This is 3:36, so 3:40, right? 4 minutes. Okay, I want something like this. Okay, so columns will be region, and then month, right? Month. I don't want year, I want month to be continuous. Okay, and then row is furniture, like this category, right? Category, and then subcategory. Okay, and I want the sales. Okay, so sales to be rows. Right, this is what I want. And then I want to have pre-attentive attribute color to differentiate between each region. So region will be color also like this. Right, it's almost there. So what's the difference between this and this? Do you see the difference? The difference is that this one, you can see the trend very easily. Why? Why? Why this one is not easily seen? Why it's always flat? ทำไมเนาะทำไมอันนี้มันถึงไม่ค่อยเห็นอะเทรนด์มันไม่ค่อยชัดเจน Do you know why? Because of the y-axis scale. You see, right now the default property, default behavior of Tableau is that for all the things in row, in this case is subcategory, right? You can see that the scale of the y-axis are all the same, 0 to 20K. So if that subcategory sales is not that big, you cannot see anything. So how can you change that? You go to axis, anywhere, it's fine. You right click the axis. You edit axis. And then what you change is here. Independent axis range for each row or column, so that in each subcategory, the number will be different. If that subcategory sales are small, It probably will be 0 to 5,000. If the subcategory sales are high, it's probably 0 to 20K. So it will be totally different for each of the of the scales in each of the roles. Right? This is what we want. We want to see the trend. You don't want to know the exact number. So once we close this, we can see now the difference, right, between the trend in each subcategory and each region. This is probably what we want to see. Right? So you can see that when you separate into very small dimensions, in detail dimension like this, you will not actually quite see the peak in the seasons very easily เนาะก็คือพอมันแยกเป็น dimension เล็กๆอย่างเงี้ยมันก็จะไม่ค่อยเห็นชัดเจนมากว่ามันไปพีคตรงไหนมี2พีคไหมมันก็อาจจะไม่ชัดเจนแต่พอมันรวมๆกันแล้วใช่ป่ะซีซันอะเวลามันดูเวลาขายของมันมาเป็นลูกค้ามันมาเป็นทีละเยอะๆเนี่ยถ้ามันแตกมาเป็นแคตตากรีเนี่ยมันอาจจะไม่เห็นซีซันความชัดเจนของซีซันแต่ว่าพอมันรวมกันเนี่ยมันอาจจะเห็นเนาะเพราะว่าซีซันเนี่ยมันมาเป็นภาพใหญ่แต่ว่าพอแตกเป็นแคตตากรีรีเจียนเนี่ยมันมาเป็นภาพย่อย รีเจียนนั้นอาจจะชอบไปซื้ออันนี้รีเจียนนี้อาจจะไม่ชอบไปซื้ออันนี้เงี้ยมันก็เลยไม่ขึ้นไม่เห็นเป็นเหมือนซีซันในภาพรวมเท่าไหร่นะนะคะแต่บางอันก็เห็นเนาะบางอันก็เห็นอันนี้อาจจะเนี่ยอันเนี้ยมี2 พีคใช่ไหมแต่อันเนี้ยมีแค่พีคเดียวนะก็แล้วแต่ก็อันนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งที่ we can research more of what are the behaviors behind the things that was going on over here นะคะอ่ะ okay next is Gantt chart you may not see much about this chart but it's useful somehow use Gantt chart to show duration of events or activities. For example, in your project, if you want to see some events about Moo account going on during some duration around the year, right? Maybe after election, there are more activity than before, something like this, right? You want to see the duration of the events or activity. This Gantt chart will show separate marks, usually will be a bar chart to show that duration. Right? For example, we want to show, in this case, the average delivery time for a range of products for different ship mode. Okay, so the basic building block, if you want to get a Gantt chart, is that you can select the mark type to be automatic or Gantt chart. Okay, the column shell will need to be the date or the time field, which is continuous, and row shells will be the dimension. And then you need size to be that continuous measure. In this case, average delivery time. Okay, so I want to analyze the days that are elapsed on average between order date and the ship date. So I want to know that if I order today, on average, when do I receive my goods? Is it 1 day later or 2 day later? So this is very useful for online store like Shopee, like Lazada, right? They need to have this kind of analysis. Okay, so first, I don't have these numbers yet, the delivery time, but I can compute delivery time from the field I have, which is the ship date and the order date, right? So how can I compute that? I will compute what is called do I have this order delivery time? Let's say I want calculated field, right? I need calculated field, so I create a calculated field. And then I call this calculated field, let's say order chip, maybe order chip dip, order chip dip. Mm, mm. And I use the things called date dip, date dip function. I have date dip function that says I want to calculate depends on day. Date part, this date part mean that do you want day, week, month, year, something like this ก็คือส่วนประกอบของวันที่นั่นเองหรือเวลานะคะ I want day so I use single quote and then day make it bigger date dip to calculate between days between where order date and ship date right ship date and order date so it will calculate ship date minus order date for me or the reverse just the diff okay absolute diff so you can see that actually there is an arrow here that you can click and see the manual of each function available in Tableau, right? In the diff, right? The diff, how can I use the diff? Return the difference between 2 days where start date is subtracted from the end date. The difference is expressed in units of date part. Example like this. Okay. Then click OK. Okay, once I have this, okay, I create a new sheet. Let's call this average day elapsed between order and ship date. And I need subcategory in row. I need to look at several ship mode. Okay. And I need date time measure, which means I need order date, 2 columns. But it needs to be continuous measure. In this case, I will choose week continuous. Okay. Week number. It will look almost right. Week number. Then I will add that calculated field. This calculated field, right? Where's here. Order ship diff, okay? To be size. So if order the number of days are big, the size will be big. If number will be small, size will be small. So I put order shift diff this here to size, like this. But is it a sum? No, right? For each week, each ship mode, each subcategory, there may be many different orders, but I don't want it to be sum. I don't want to know average. So I need to change the sum here to be average. Measure, not sum, but I need average. Okay. And I need different colors for each chip mode. So I put chip mode to be color. Okay. Actually, this already looks good, but so there are 52 weeks for each year. So together they are 200 weeks, right? And the number of weeks are too much to be able to see or visualize anything. So now let's say I want to just know 3 months at the end. right? So let's say I want just 3 months. I use order date as filter. I put order date to filter. Okay. And then in filter, I choose range of dates. So I can slide between the range of dates I want. I choose the range of dates and then click next. Right. And then I choose just 3 months, probably, which month? October, right? October. I can choose here, right? October. Okay. 1st October until 30th December. Range of dates, and then click OK. I can also show filter in case I want to change. So I can change my range of dates here. All right, if everyone get this, just type 8. Okay, so what do we get? We can see how do we analyze, right? You can see that mostly for standard class, it takes a lot average delivery times than first class, same day, and second class. It's for sure because standard class is the cheapest one, right? It should take more time, right? And it's what it's used for, the Gantt chart, to analyze the durations, right? And you can see that somehow the second class takes more time than first class, right? And somehow, somewhere, maybe like, let's say, people not usually use same day except these 3, right? And this at at the beginning of December, why they use same day? The hypothesis is that maybe they want to rush their gifts before Christmas. This has happened in USA, right? Before Christmas, people may go home. And so if they want to buy something for the gift, they need to rush the delivery. So they will probably choose same day delivery over here. Okay. And that's it. We can do whatever we want from this Gantt chart, right? Next one, word cloud. Actually, this one is very easy. Okay. So, word cloud. Okay, you want to see the word cloud of sales volume, by state. You want to see which state has the most sales volume. Okay, so what's cloud needs to use state. Okay, state will be text. These are all the states that we have. However, the behavior is that it comes with country, but we don't need country here. We only need state, so we just remove the country. Okay, just leave it with states. Put state in text and then remove country. And then I want this text to have the size of the text to be dependent on the sales. Okay, so I put sales in size, right? Put sales in size. So we'll get this tree map. We'll do tree map later on. But we can change this word หรือ word world นะ word มี world ด้วยเหรอ ไม่มี world นะ word word ไหนนะเดี๋ยวก่อน word cloud word โทษทีพิมพ์ผิดใช่ไหม word cloud โทษ word cloud word cloud โอเค word cloud we want text we don't want tree map which are automatically created for us so we just change the marks card here to be text ไม่เห็นครับคืออะไรนะไม่ทันไม่ทันครับโอเคอ่ะ I have to change the name again word cloud โอเค state to text state to text and then we remove this country we just drag out and then we want sales to be size okay and change the marks card we don't want this tree map thing we would create tree map later we change it to text this is what we get but I need color pre-attentive attribute so I will also drag cells into color also so everything looks better right so you can see that okay California has the highest sales volume second one is New York and then Washington Texas Pennsylvania so big states these are big states okay and that's it so if you get this just type 9 So from now on, you have already familiar with creating graphs in Tableau. If you take a look at my screen and you see the pills in the mark card or columns or shelves or filter pages, you have to be able to already apply that graph yourself, right? ก็คือว่าคือถ้าพอเราทำมาเยอะๆเนี่ยพอสมมติว่าไปดูของคนอื่นแล้วเห็นเขามีกราฟอะไรแล้วเขาเห็นว่าเขาเอาอะไรไปใส่อะไรเนี่ยคุณต้องทำตามได้ละเพราะคุณก็จะรู้แล้วว่าเฮ้ยมันขึ้นอย่างนี้นะตรงนี้นะแสดงว่าคุณลากอะไรไปใส่อะไรเนาะอ่ะ next I want the things called pack bubble pack bubble can be created very easily using show me okay so pack bubble is cell volume again cell volume by region and state again. Cell volume by region and state. I want to be region and state. So the pack bubble in show me is here. Pack bubble, I need measure. I need dimension. Right? Okay. Measure is cells. Dimension is region and state. Okay, so region and state. Here, I control click everything. Region, state, and then sales. And then I just choose this pack bubble. This one. ก็คือ bubble chart อะนะคะดับเบิลคลิกเลยthat's it and then I can just add sales volume to label so I put sales to label I can change the order in which this label happen so I put maybe right state above region something like this the bubbles position are changed automatically you cannot move around ก็คือคุณ control ไม่ได้เนอะ you cannot control where the bubbles are it was chosen automatically depends on the space you have Okay, so once you get this, just type 0. Okay, next, I want tree map. Okay, I want tree map. First, I need tree map like this using show me. I want, what is this? Subcategory and sales. Okay, so just control click subcategory and sales and choose tree map over here. So this is tree map. Okay. Create new sales composition by let's say first the name is subcat. Okay, subcategory. Okay, so just choose sales and then subcategory and then go to show me and then create this T map. This is what we get just from show me. Just control click subcategory and sales and then choose the tree map over here. So what does the tree map tells you? Tree map tells you the composition. Remember the diagram that we have. So if you want to show composition for the fixed dimension without time, then tree map is one thing that you can choose. So left top will be the one that has the biggest proportion, and it will goes from left to right or left or top to bottom. It depends on the space that you have. Right? The behavior is that the program will choose it for you, whether it go from left to right or top to bottom. So in this case, it looks like it goes from top to bottom first, and then go to right here. Right? Okay. I don't stop here. I want more things. I want to have something like this, which means I want to have hierarchy using category. So in this case, I want category above subcategory, right? And then for each category, I will separate that into subcategory, which one has the most highest sale, and so on, in sorted order, right? So in this case, that means technology is up left top. That means technology has the highest sale amongst the three categories. And in technology, phones has the highest sale. This is what tree map tells us. So how can I do this? I can just add category. Okay, I can add category, right? Right now, here, you can see we can add category to label and category to color. Okay, so I add category to label and then I switch the order. Put category before, right? And then add category to color like this. Okay, once I add category into label, it means I want to group by not just subcategory, but also by category. Tree map will automatically do this hierarchy for me. Also, I want the label of the sales. Okay, so I add label of the sales. So I know how many dollars I get from each subcategory and category. All right. Again, from here, right, I can just add category. Okay, I put category in label. And I also put category in color. It will create a hierarchy for me. And then I will just format the label that I want. I want category to come first. I just move the order and then I need sales for label also. Right. Now, I want another tree map, but it's your turn to do this. I want sales composition, but profit color. That means the size of the, you can say the post-it, right? The post-it. Size of the post-it, the square. The size depends on the sales, but the color depends on profit ก็คือไซส์เนี่ยมันเป็นตัวบอกว่าเซลล์เยอะเซลล์น้อยแต่ว่าสีจะเป็นตัวบอกว่า profit เยอะหรือน้อยหรือ negative profit ก็คือในกรณีเนี้ย shares เนี่ยเยอะสุดเนาะแต่ว่าพอไล่ๆไป shares phone storage table เนี่ยเซลล์เยอะแต่ profit เนี่ยติดลบเพราะมันสีทองนะคะอ่ะ create อันใหม่เลยเนาะ new one อ่ะ sales composition profit color from subcategory. Okay, and this is what I want. Okay, so right now it's 411 415ละกันนะคะ Okay, so how do we do this? Yeah, you can see we do sales in size. Actually, we can use the show me to do this for us. We don't need to do it manually, but we put profit in color. Right? So if it's not dimension in color, it will not create a hierarchy for you anyway. So in this case, it will color the post-it by the profit. Okay, that's the one thing that are difference between the previous one and this one. Okay, so sales and subcategory, the same thing, sales and subcategory, and show me tree map, right? And then with that, I can put what do we have? Profit, right? Profit to be color, right? Now, and I need to add just the numbers. So the numbers to label, and then the profit so to label. Now, the problem is since we have two numbers in the graph, you don't want to you want people to know the difference, which number is which. So what do I need to do is I need to go to the label card here and edit the display, right? Edit this dot things, and then I can add sales and profit, right? Okay, so this is what I did over here. If you are with me, click type 1. Okay, almost the last thing today. I think we don't have time for the Thailand map. Maybe we can do that. Maybe I will add a video, or maybe we will do that later on next lecture. Let's see. Let me see first whether we have a lot of content next lecture. But this will be the last graph for us, which is pie chart. Somebody really love pie chart, but actually we talked about this before, that pie chart may not be the best graph to choose at first, right? But if you want to use pie chart, it will help you to show the composition of the proportion compared to the whole thing. So it's best practice to use pie chart with a small number of slides. In this case, we only have 3 slides, so it should be fine. Pie charts can be easily done using show me. So in this case, the pie is the category, so we just choose control click category, and in this case profit, right? Proportion of profit. Okay, so go back to okay, and then new sheet, proportion of profit. Okay, profit, and then category now, and then go to show me, and then choose pie chart, and actually that's it. It's just that it's too small. You can change to entire view, right? Like this, and then you add label. Okay, so you add category label. Yeah, category. You add profit to label. And that's done for today's graph that we want. However, okay, are you with me ทันไหมมีใครไม่ทันไหมเอาใหม่เนาะเออ Okay, just choose category and profit, and then go to show me and choose pie chart, and then entire view, and then add label, put category and profit into label, and that's it. Okay. So before we end up for today, the last things that we need to tell you is that sometimes we want to add filter to a worksheet many times because we add the same filter many times. The default is that when we add filter into worksheets, for example, I want to filter the profit here by year. I put order date to filter like this, right? I put order date to filter. And then, for example, I choose year, and then click next. And then let's choose everything first, and then OK. And then show filter. Okay, so I have this year filter. This filter only apply to this worksheet, right? However, if in some cases you would need this type of filter many times in many worksheets, Tableau allow you to add the same filter to many worksheets at the same time. So let's see the option. If you click this filter, there will be apply to worksheets. So you can add this worksheet to all using this data source. That means it will be able to apply this same filter to every worksheet that use the same data source. Or you can select particular worksheets, so selected worksheets like this, and then choose which worksheet you want it to apply. This is another way, right? So let's say I want to apply to worksheets to all using this data source. It will have small icon over here to say that, okay, this will apply to all worksheets, nah? And then you can see if you go back to other worksheets, this filter will exist in all these worksheets because it uses the same data source. So once you apply, that means if you change the filter, for example, I choose only 2022, I apply only 2022, it will apply to all the worksheets. See the difference, right? These are already filtered just 2022. The bad thing is that if you apply filter in a worksheet, but you come to see this worksheet, you may not know which filter that I already apply. Otherwise, you need to show filter in every sheet that you have. Right? Otherwise, it will be quite subtle ก็คือมันจะค่อนข้างมันจะซ่อนอยู่อะถ้าเกิดคุณไม่โชว์ฟิลเตอร์ใช่ไหมแล้วคุณไป apply แบบทุกอันอย่างเงี้ยแล้วมันไม่โชว์บางทีมันไม่รู้ไงพอมันไม่รู้ปุ๊บเดี๋ยวไปแปล insight ผิดก็มีได้เนาะอันนี้ก็เป็นข้อเสียที่มันอาจจะเกิดขึ้นนะคะโอเค So I think that's it for today because we already 4:24, right? I will tell you again which plan I want to do with the Thailand maps. Okay, but right now you can just save the file and then I don't want you to submit Thailand map anyway because it will make your file too big. So just save this and then just submit your lab. Okay, so we are done for today. So this one is not used yet. We'll go to quiz. So 4, 436. Okay, 437. Right. Okay, quiz 8 is posted. Right? While you do quiz 8, I have new homework for today. And the things is that it's actually use the cleans, the already cleans that I said, just like in your homework 3. And then I want you to use Tableau, right? Create 5 worksheets or 5 graphs, and then maybe ask business question and try to come up with Tableau graph. My minimum requirement is that there should be this thing in your graph at least once. For example, top 10 feature, dual axis or chair axis, date time dimension, calculated field นะคะก็คืออาจจะมีแค่กราฟเดียวก็ได้ที่ใช้พวกนี้ทั้งหมดเดียวเลยก็ได้หรือว่ามีกราฟหนึ่งใช้ฟิลเตอร์มีกราฟหนึ่งใช้ดูอักซิสอย่างนี้ก็ได้อันนี้แล้วแต่เราวางแผนได้เนาะก็แล้วก็ใส่ไทเทิลมาแต่ว่าพยายามตั้งไทเทิลให้มัน specific นิดนึงอย่าตั้งให้มัน general เกินไปแล้วก็ใส่ subtitle เป็นสิ่งที่คุณเจอในกราฟคุณด้วยก็คือ insight ที่เจอนะคะ submit in package workbook don't submit in TWB เนาะ submit with the data นะคะอย่าลืม extract data ก่อนนะคะถ้าไฟล์ too large submit link and ensure everyone has access ก็คือ TA ต้องเข้า access ได้นะคะอันนี้ we have 3 whole weeks okay 16 March that means we have 3 whole weeks to do this homework especially นะคะ other than this homework I will also tells you during the mid the next week we have วิสาขะไหม I will tell you about next week แล้วกันนะคะว่า I want you to do a project checkpoint which means you want to tell me the story about your project your final project so that I can see whether it's appropriate or not maybe each group is about 10 minutes okay I will give you the slot and then let you choose which slot are comfortable for you and then you come in as a group and then we will take a look at your project okay and any question okay if no question then see you not next week 3 weeks after right when we don't have midterm exam so in midterm week we don't have class so after that see you later right okay we will still use Tableau after this